Hello and welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to be looking at the age-old problem of track cleaning, and something that I've found by watching other YouTube videos and doing some research online, which is this stuff. Noox ID A Special, which is a conductive grease that you can put on the rails to stop them oxidising, hence the name. And it's supposed to prevent track cleaning for a very long time, years, some people have claimed. So I'm going to do an ongoing experiment with this stuff. My layout's in the garage, which puts it in a dusty environment straight away. I mean, the doors are all sealed, it's all locked, it's all secure, but there's still a lot of dust about. Spiders, cobwebs, you name it. So we're going to experiment with this. Now, I've done 2/3 of the layout, and I thought for this video I'd concentrate on the seawall section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring round a locomotive. Let's have a look. This is class 20 on speed 6, and it will come out the tunnel very shortly. Now what I will say is I've done the layout up to that tunnel mouth. Up to that has been done. From that tunnel mouth this hasn't been done. Whoops. And nothing has ran on the seawall for about 3 weeks. So this is creeping along here, and you can see it's starting to struggle a little bit. Oh, and it's stopped there, and as you can see we're still on speed 6, but it stopped there due to dirty track. Now if I push that along, it's not liking that at all. So let's turn that off. Take the 20 off for a minute. I'll just prove there that, so it's got clean wheels, recently serviced, and obviously with this model it's got a long wheelbase. Now all wheels pick up on this. I'll try and get it in the camera. Now what I'm going to do afterwards, I'm going to test it with a very short wheelbase model that I built, namely this Nightwing Shunter Poppy, and you can see this has got a very small wheelbase. Very limited pickup really, and we're going to run that along there and see if that stutters. So the first thing I do, and some people will not like this, but this is, bear in mind I'm not going to do this again hopefully for years. Get a track rubber. Now this obviously has been used on the outside, so I'm going to use that side, and I'm going to thoroughly clean the rail tops between the tunnel mouths just by rubbing the rail tops and using the track rubber as normal. Some of these details have come unstuck over the years, but we're going to go up to the tunnel mouth, which is where I stopped last time, and we're going to do both. We're going to do both rails, both lines, all 4 rails. Now I've read online, using track rubbers etc, or bright boys I think they're called in the States, can leave micro scratches on the rail head, which causes micro arcing, which attracts dirt. Well, this stuff will fill those grooves, the microscopic grooves, and hopefully prevent all that. Now all the oxidisation has been removed and the rail tops are shiny. Now getting my track cleaning cloth, which is lint free, I'm now just going to put that on my hand, and then using some clean white spirit, just clean the tops of the rails. Now again, I don't recommend cleaning the rails with white spirit all the time, as it can have a detrimental effect on some plastic sleepers, but for this purpose it's ideal. So up to the tunnel mouth on both lines, and just work along. Knock that man off there. Oops. Come on mate, sit down. And you can see there the muck that's come off. So I'll turn around and get a clean bit just to show you. Go along it 2 or 3 times. Very small amount of white spirit is all that's needed. Right, so this is 20 minutes later. I've allowed the white spirit to evaporate, and if I do that with my fingers on the railhead, you can see they're clean. So the next thing to do is to get your Noox. And you see now, I got mine off Amazon for £12 for this pot, but this is probably more than you're ever going to need. So you can see all you do is, I'd use this finger actually, just rub your finger along the top. Just get your finger, a thin coating on the end of your finger, and all you do then is just go along and rub it all on your rail tops, all the way where you've cleaned. Right, I had to wipe it off there because I've got a bit of ballast that hasn't been glued down, stuck to my finger. So go all the way along, and I've done that bit. You see, it's relatively quick. If you've got a small layout, you'll be able to do your whole layout in a day. And I'll go all the way up to where we cleaned, so that all of the railhead is now coated, and then do the other one. Right, so that's that done. That was literally less than a minute to do that 5-foot section. I do wish he'd stay on his bench though, because he keeps falling off. Maybe he's had a few Sunday beverages. So now remember before that Class 20 came along and stopped around here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Poppy on through the tunnel, so that it runs through the tunnel and along here, and hopefully, if I've done that correctly, she won't stop at all. So let's get her going. So there's the controller, speed step 24. I'll slow that down a little bit, and I'll leave that. I'm not going to touch that now, and that should run along there with no stopping. There's a little bit, that may be a pickup problem, or I might not have done that bit. There's no stalling where the 20 stalled. Just that is uneven track on my part. But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to run your trains backwards and forwards a couple of times, just to run that grease into the railhead. And as you can see, there's no stopping now that the grease has been worked in. And I'll change directions again. Doesn't like running forwards, this model. There's something wrong with it's elastic band driven, and it can play up going forwards sometimes. But there you go, no stuttering at all now. And it's where it's running that grease in. So I'm going to do the same on the inside track. So here she comes back on the inside rail now, just running that grease in. And now people might think that using grease on rails is going to be detrimental to haulage capacity. Well, I've not found that. I've still found my trains can run very well. And also, there is a problem. People don't know how this reacts with traction tyres. So what I'll do an experiment in a moment, and I'll show you that as well. But you can see now that this little four-wheeled 040 diesel is running no problems, no stalling whatsoever. Whereas before, that big 20 with a longer wheelbase would not run at all. And then she's just coming back now. So what you're supposed to do now is when that gets back up there, I'll let it go through the tunnel and out the way. I'll just wait for it to meander off. There we go. And now what you're supposed to do, according to people online, is get a cloth which is dry. This is the same thing, but this is the dry bit. And just go along. Just turn that off. Go along and wipe the top of the rails. Now what you're doing here, you're not removing the Noox. You're just leaving a very fine microscopic layer, because the last thing you want is too much of it on there. You just want a very, very fine layer. So let's just do that. And I'm not pressing, all I'm doing is gliding my fingers along the top of the railhead. And you can see on the cloth there's no Noox, and if you put your fingers on the rail, you can feel the residue. It is still there. Right, let's get that 20. So let's bring the 20 round now. Speed step 10. So now we've treated that rail. Here comes the 20 again that we had before, and we'll see if there's any stuttering. And as you can see, it is running loads better, really smooth. The bit where it stopped before, nothing. In fact, that 20's do. It's not even on properly, and it's still running well. That's it. Let's bring her back. And you can. So that's it. That's the rails treated now. I shouldn't, if I believe everything you read online, which I know you shouldn't do, but if you believe everything you read online, I shouldn't have to clean this seawall section now for months, if not maybe hopefully years. And obviously when I'm filming Trash to Track, I have to clean this because sometimes I won't use it for a week or more. But we'll see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this now for 2 weeks. I'm going to do the rest of the layout, which is the village and viaduct section, which is off to the right. That's the last bit I've got to do. I'm going to do that bit, and then I'm going to put all my track cleaning equipment away, and then I'm going to come back to this in 2 weeks, a fortnight. So it's March the 3rd today, so it will be around about the 20th of March this video will go out, and then we'll come back. I'm going to put a traction tyre and some Noox in a sealed bag and come back to it in 2 weeks and see if there's any detrimental effects. So I'm going to crack on now and do the rest of the layout, and then I'll come back to you in 2 weeks time. For me that'll be like a lifetime, but for you it'll literally be seconds. Right, not quite 2 weeks, same day. I forgot what I was going to do. So I've got a clear bag here. It's not got any holes or anything in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a traction tyre, just one that's loose at random. That one will do. That's quite thin, so that will work. And I'll tell you what else I'm going to do is I've got a tub full of wheels, car tyres, which are obviously made of a different type of rubber. So what I'm going to do now is a bit of an experiment, and I'm going to get the Noox, and I'm just going to roll the rubber tyre, put some in it, put some on it, and place that in the bag. Same with the traction tyre, just dab it in, get it all coated on there as if it had been running. I know it's exaggerated, but exaggerated is probably better for this. Fantastic. So there's plenty of Noox on that traction tyre, and I'm going to put that in there and seal that up. So that's sealed. So the grease is on the traction tyre and on a normal tyre. Now, to see if there's any truth in the fact that it affects traction tyres, I'm going to leave that sealed now for the 2 weeks, and we'll come back to that and see if there's any like derogatory effects. If there is, obviously you know then not to use it. But most of my fleet now, for example, like my models like this Bachmann Jubilee, there's no traction tyres on them anymore. It's only the older stuff, and to be honest, I haven't got that much stuff with tyres on. All my Hornby 50s have had their wheels replaced, they've got no tyres, but we'll come back to that, and we'll see what's happened to that in 2 weeks' time. Right, due to various things getting in the way, it wasn't 2 weeks, it was actually more like 2 months. And because it's been 2 months, I've ran this van round with these dust bunnies just to take the dust settlement off the top of the rails. Now, some will say that is track cleaning, which I said we didn't have to do, but I've not had to do anything manual. The locomotive Poppy has pushed that around and just given one circuit. That's all, one circuit of the layout. And you can still feel the residue on the rails. And I'm going to give Poppy a run. Now, this is the first run for 8 weeks. Now, due to various things, filming, working, etc., I haven't run anything on the main layout for a while. That's why it's not been in any recent Trash to Tracks. But and also, I'd like to apologise for the voice quality in that first half of the video. When I recorded that back in March, I didn't realise that until I went to edit it, that the microphone hadn't connected to the phone, so apologies for that. But you can see now that Poppy is now running along that piece of rail there where that 20 stalled a couple of months ago. And this has literally had no trains running on it. It's just had that dust bunnies from Gauge Master collecting the dust off the top. And this model is running fantastically. Now, I've never been able to do this on my layout. If I leave it for any length of time... Whoops, the bloke fell off there. But if I leave it for any length of time, it always needs a good clean. The only thing I've done is run those dust bunnies around. One lap, that's all. And the layout is running absolutely fantastically. And as you can see, this very small wheelbase Poppy locomotive is running superbly. So here she is trundling along that seawall. This is the section we featured earlier. And yeah, it's fantastic. Now, this NOx ID stuff has been on the layout for 8 weeks. And I've not ran any trains, as I said. That is genuine. I'm not saying it. I'm not associated with NOx or anything like that. But I'm just very, very happy with how this at the moment is working. And even on the points where the frogs on my Electrofrog points would oxidise very easily, this is just trundling round. And here we see, you can see there, the frog on there is very shiny. Whereas before, if I didn't use my points, they would oxidise and go dull. But on all the treated sections of my layout, the rails are all still shiny. I expect some dust coverage because it's in a garage, but overall I'm extremely impressed. And turning our attention back to those tyres, now obviously it's been a lot longer than the 2 weeks I initially thought. I filmed this on the 14th of May. These have been in this sealed bag, so I'm going to break them open now and put them on this white cloth. So if there is any black residue that forms from the NOx, it'll be immediately apparent. Well, as soon as I start cleaning these, there is absolutely no black marks coming off these whatsoever unless I push down with unruly force. It's left a little bit of a greasy sheen, but that NOx ID has not affected the traction tyre or that car tyre rubber in any way that I can see. The tyre's not perished. It may be a little bit greasy, but it's going to be because it is a grease. It's a conductive grease. But there's no black residue or anything coming off. So I would say after this 8-week experiment so far that the NOx is not actually affecting the traction tyres like people may think it does. So there we go, NOx ID A Special from Amazon, £12 a pop, and more than you'll ever need in your lifetime. Like I said, I watched Ron's Trains and Things and a couple of other YouTube videos, and I personally can recommend this for maintaining clean track. And it's nice to be able to come in the garage to run trains, having not ran anything in here for about 2 months, 8 weeks or so. And the layout, just run those dust bunnies round, 1 loop each, and then my layout is functioning fantastically, and all thanks to this NOx. So I'm really pleased with it. At the moment, I'm really happy. I might do a follow-up video 6 months to a year to see how it goes longevity-wise. But at the moment, especially after leaving my layout for so long and it running well, I am really pleased with this track cleaning method of track rubber, white spirit until the rails are clean, application of NOx, then wipe away the excess, and it is just fantastic. It's transformed my layout, and I really do enjoy coming out in there knowing I haven't got to clean every inch of the track before I run trains. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you again in the next video.